This is 2Ezra chapter 3. In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and lay troubled upon my bed. And my thoughts came up over my heart, for I saw the desolation of Zion, and the wealth of them that dwelleth at Babylon. My spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Yah, who beareth rule, thou sparest at the beginning when thou did plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and command the people, and gave a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workman of thine hands, and did breathe into him the breath of life. He made living before thee. He was made living before thee. And thou leadest him into a paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gave commandments to love thy way, which he transgressed. And immediately thou appointed death in him, and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, peoples, kindreds, out of number. And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. And again, in the process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwell in the world, and destroyed them. And it came to pass in every one of them, that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou left, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men. And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more unrighteous than the first. Now, when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou did choose thee a man from among them, whose name was Abraham. Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showed thy will, and made an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou would never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gave Isaac, and unto Isaac thou gave Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou did choose him to thee, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude. And it came to pass that when thou leadest his seed out of Egypt, thou broughtest them up to the Mount Sinai, and bowing the heavens, thou didst set fast the earth, moveth the whole world, and made the depths to tremble, and troublest the men of that age. And thy esteem went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou might give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Yasharal. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the roots, so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still. So the times passed away, and the years were brought to an end. Then didst thou raise thee up a servant called David, whom thou commanded to build a city unto thy name, and to offer incense and oblations unto thee therein. When this was done many years, then they that inhabited the cities forsook thee, and in all things did even as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. And so thou gavest thy city over into the hands of thine enemies. Are their deeds then any better than that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thine enemies, and hast not signified. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Or is there any other people that know of thee besides Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. For when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Thou shalt find that Yasharal by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathens. This concludes 2 Ezra chapter